This video is intended to give you a general understanding of how to perform certain adjustments or replacement procedures related to the steering system. This video, like the service manuals, is intended to be used as a reference by mechanics who have been trained to repair and service steering systems used on commercial vehicles. Prior to making a repair, refer to the appropriate service manual for additional information. Service-related information may be found on our website at www.trucksteering.com. Take all the necessary precautions to ensure both your safety and the safety of others around you. If you are not sure how to perform a procedure, consult your authorized TRW technical representative. The following method uses the power steering pump to force out the input shaft seal. To use this procedure, the pump should have a minimum of 1500 psi available. This process is quick and easy and can be done without removing the steering gear from the vehicle. Do not use a screw to remove the input shaft seal. Using this method could damage the sealing surface in the valve housing, which will create a leak at the input shaft seal area. Do not mix fluid types when filling the system. Any mixture of fluid types or use of any non-recommended fluid could lead to seal deterioration and leaks. A leak could ultimately cause loss of fluid, which could result in a loss of power steering assist. Visual inspection. Set the parking brake on the vehicle and block the rear wheels. Raise the front end off the ground. Take the vehicle out of gear and put it into neutral position. Raise the hood and wipe down the area around the steering gear and the hydraulic lines related to the steering system. Place a drip pan under the steering gear to catch draining oil. Visually inspect the area around the seal, looking for signs of seal leakage or fluids transferred from other underhood components. To determine if the input shaft seal is leaking, do the following. Wipe down the area of the steering gear around the input shaft seal and hose connections. Do not steam clean or use a power washer to clean the steering gear. With the vehicle parked and a temperature gauge inserted in the reservoir, observe the input shaft seal area and hose connections while running the engine and steering the vehicle for 5 to 10 minutes. When checking the seal area and hose connections, system oil temperature should be between 130 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Caution: do not let the oil temperature exceed 250 degrees Fahrenheit while performing this maneuver. If fluid leakage is noted from the reservoir, hose, fittings, or other plumbing connections, repair the problem and retest. If no fluid leakage is observed, then the appearance of leakage is likely a migration of grease and not a seal failure. Seal removal. Place a drip pan under the steering gear to catch draining oil. Disconnect the return line from the steering gear. Plug the return line and cap the return port of the gear using high-pressure fittings. Disconnect the intermediate column from the steering gear's input shaft. Then clean the input shaft end of the steering gear. Remove the dirt and water seal from the steering gear. Wipe out the grease that was behind the seal. Insert a small screwdriver into the notch formed in the end of the spiral retaining ring. Remove the retaining ring. Be careful not to scratch the bore with the screwdriver. Slip the intermediate column back onto the input shaft with the pinch bolt installed but not tightened. Tie a clean shop towel around the input shaft area to reduce oil spatter. Check the reservoir and add fluid if necessary until the level is at the full mark. Now, to force the seal out, put the vehicle in neutral and briefly bump the engine over. If the engine starts, turn it off quickly. Remove the shop towel and the column connection. The input shaft seal can now be removed by hand. Seal inspection. Clean and check the seal area of the valve housing for any seal fragments. Remove all debris. Check the seal you just removed for heat damage. If the seal is stiff and brittle, not pliable like the new seal, it is probably heat damaged. You should determine and fix the cause of the excessive heat in the steering system. Seal installation. Put clean grease provided in the kit on the inside diameter of the new input shaft seal and place it over the input shaft, garter spring side first. Place the small diameter end of the seal installer tool over the input shaft and against the seal. Tap the seal installer tool until the tool shoulder is square against the valve housing. Remove any seal material that may have sheared off in the seal bore or retaining ring groove. Do not use a socket to install the seal. Using a socket will seat the seal too deeply and cause damage. Install the new retaining ring into the groove. Pack the end of the valve housing bore around the input shaft with grease provided in the kit. Apply more of the grease to the backside of the new dirt and water seal. Then, place it over the input shaft. Seat it in the groove behind the serrations and against the valve housing. Reconnect the intermediate column to the input shaft and tighten the pinch bolt to the torque level specified by the vehicle manufacturer. Reconnect the return line to the steering gear return port. Then, refill the reservoir if necessary. This seal replacement procedure will probably introduce air into the hydraulic system. Bleed the air from the steering system before returning the vehicle to service.